Have you ever looked at your life and thought, how am I here again? Same kind of relationship, same kind of mistake, same kind of pain, just with a different face and a different year. It almost feels like your life is on repeat. You promise yourself, never again, after a breakup, after a bad decision, after trusting the wrong people. But a few months later, the same pattern shows up. Today, I want to talk about why you keep repeating the same mistakes, your inner child, your mindset, your circle of friends, and finally, how to break the cycle without hating yourself for the past. Let's start with your inner child, the part of you that was shaped by your earliest experiences. Maybe you grew up feeling unseen, unwanted, or only loved when you were useful. That part of you still lives inside, still trying to get what it never received. That inner child will push you into familiar situations, even if they are unhealthy, because familiar feels safer than unknown. So, you choose partners who treat you like your parents did, or friends who repeat the same old wounds not because you like it, but because your nervous system recognizes it. Your mind confuses known with safe. It says, at least I know how this story goes, even if the story ends with you crying on the floor again. That's why you go back to the same type of people and choices they feel like home, even if home was never really safe. Then there's your mindset, the story you tell yourself about who you are. If deep down you believe, I'm not worth healthy love, or I always mess things up, your brain will look for choices that keep that story true. The mind hates being wrong, even if being wrong would set you free. This is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. You expect chaos, so you choose people who bring chaos. You expect rejection, so you pull away first and create the very distance you're afraid of. Then you say, see, I was right about myself, when actually you were right about your pattern. Your circle of friends also keeps the cycle alive. If everyone around you normalizes toxic behavior, cheating, screaming matches, or staying in miserable jobs, then your standards quietly adjust downward. What used to feel wrong now feels just how life is. If the people you spend the most time with keep repeating the same mistakes, they will subconsciously invite you to join the loop. Not by forcing you, but by making it look normal, even glamorous, to stay stuck. So, how do you break the cycle? First, you have to notice it without shaming yourself. Instead of I'm so stupid, try, oh, this is the same pattern again. You can't change a pattern you refuse to look at. Second, talk to your inner child instead of letting them drive. That means asking yourself, what was I trying to get as a kid that I'm still chasing in adults who can't give it to me? Approval? Safety? Attention? Then learn to give some of that to yourself first. Third, challenge your mindset. When you catch yourself saying, this is just who I am, ask, or is this just what I learned? Your identity is not your history. You can respect where you came from without staying stuck there. You might need to change your circle too. That doesn't mean you suddenly think you're better than everyone. It means you're serious about healing. Start spending more time around people whose normal looks like the future you want, not the past you're trying to escape. Breaking the cycle is not about never making mistakes again. It's about making different mistakes as you grow. Mistakes that come from trying new, healthier things, not from reliving the same old story on repeat. You will slip up. You will sometimes go back to what's familiar. That doesn't erase your progress. It just means you're human. The important thing is that you notice it faster, stay there for a shorter time, and come back to your new path. Ask yourself, what is one small action that breaks this pattern just a little bit? Maybe it's saying no the first time you see a red flag. Maybe it's pausing for 24 hours before replying. Maybe it's choosing not to joke about your own pain all the time. Every time you do something slightly different, you send a new message to your nervous system and your inner child. We don't live in that old story anymore. The loop might not disappear overnight, but it will get weaker. You keep repeating the same mistakes not because you're hopeless, but because you've been trying to survive with old settings. Now you're allowed to update them. You're allowed to choose people, thoughts, and habits that fit who you are becoming, not who you had to be to survive.